Hey everybody, welcome to Michelle is Money Hungry. I'm your host, Michelle Jackson, and I am talking about how to build vacation time, downtime into your schedule as an online entrepreneur this week. This week's episode is sponsored by my course, Make Money with eBooks. Make sure to go to the show notes at michelleismoneyhungry.com/vacation to access information on the course. So at the time of this recording, it is Thanksgiving weekend, and I am freaking tired. Like, it's always this way every year, and I'm just exhausted. I'll admit that when I quit my job, when I left and decided to become self-employed and then became an entrepreneur after a while, I thought, surely this would change. Like, I was in charge of my own schedule and I could take breaks and all that kind of thing. It hasn't changed. In fact, when I was working my 9 to 5, I was always tired, and I'm tired now at this time of year. And so one of the things that I've learned is that it's important to build in downtime and vacation into your online business. It really didn't make sense for me to quit my job and then work every single day like a machine. That wasn't why I quit my job. I wanted to increase flexibility in my life. I wanted time to spend with people that I love. I wanted time to focus on self-care. And that was really not happening. And so last year, I decided to take a year off from travel. And during that time, I was like, I'm tired. Like, I found all the constant travel to different events, conferences, what have you, very tiring. And I also realized that there's a lot of mental energy that goes into growing your business. And so I want to talk about how I now approach building downtime into my year, into my weeks, as well as vacations, because I think that this is something a lot of people struggle with, especially as online entrepreneurs, because you feel like you constantly have to be on. You don't. So let's talk about this. The first thing is you need to understand your yearly workflow. As a digital entrepreneur, I've discovered that there are several activities that affect my workflow. The first thing would be personal obligations. So for example, time that I need to spend with family, friends, and just time for myself. These obligations could be anything from birthday parties, happy hours, trips to visit my grandma, just events and time away from my house involving people that I care about. Then there's content creation. As a digital entrepreneur, I spend a lot of time creating content. Things like blog posts, podcasts, getting interviewed for other podcasts, social media, scheduling, product creation, writing books and freelance writing, as well as creating events. The list goes on. Conference attendance, time of year. So there are just different times of year that are inherently busier than others based on what's going on with me and my business. This is the same as when you work a 9 to 5. There are just times in your year that at your job that are really busy. Now I'm able to anticipate the slower times of year and build in breaks during those times. One of the major things that I've been working on, and trust me when I say it has, it feels like it should have been easy, but it's not easy initially, but then it becomes easier. Batching my work. You have to batch your work. This practice has been the hardest habit actually for me to build, but it's the best habit and activity for building a business. Batching your projects allows you to get ahead of your workload. Times of year when I'm able to build in time off because I've batched my work include from mid-December through the end of the first week, January. That's basically a 3-week window of time where I just rest. I just am so tired then using my brain for all this stuff, and I just need time off. So that is what happens during that time of year. Mid-May through mid-June is another point in the year where I need time off. Like, I find myself really tired basically, I find that I work in chunks of months throughout the year, and spring is really hectic, and then it kind of slows down, and then it picks back up again. Conference season, I've pretty much decided on the different conferences that I plan on attending during the upcoming year, but I also have to add in the lost productivity that each event creates. So for each conference that I attend, I lose 3 weeks of productivity. You're like, Michelle, how is that even freaking possible? Well, let me tell you how that's freaking possible. Basically, I'm going to give you the example of FinCon because I'm in FinCon and Podcast Movement, those two communities. The week before one of those conferences, things go crazy. People get excited. You just get distracted. You're like so excited to go. Then you go to the event, you party like a rock star, you meet 1 billion people, and then and if you've done it right, which usually I have, I come back and I'm shattered. I'm like a shell of Michelle. And FinCon especially really exhausts me because I lose my voice typically every year. I try not to. It doesn't work. Every year I lose my voice. But also I leave it all on the table when I'm there. I meet as many people as I can. I collaborate with as many people as I can. Like I try to set a lot of things up during that week. So it just kills my productivity because when I return home, I'm tired. And I think that that's something that people have to be honest about when they're attending different events, different conferences, things like that. Those are things that they have to factor into their business year in terms of productivity, lost productivity, what have you. I've talked about this before. I also like to take time off for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's like that week. It kicks off the holiday season for me. And honestly, I'm just tired by then. In 2018, at the time that I'm recording this, I'm especially tired because it was an election season. It was the midterm elections, and I found them exhausting, as I have found most elections in the past many years. You guys tire me out, get on my damn nerves. But anyway, we won't go there. I have decided that I am going to be prioritizing 4-day work weeks. Here's the thing. When I was hired for my old job, like when I was first hired for my old job, I was actually hired on to work 4-day weeks. So basically, there just wasn't enough work for me to work 5 days a week. So I had 4 days a week of work and a 3-day weekend. Can I just tell you how awesome that was? That was so freaking awesome. I loved it so much. This year, as I was looking at my productivity, I was looking at the year, I was like, why am I working all the time? Like all the time. Why? Like this makes no sense. And I thought about how I work in terms of most productive use of time. And I thought about that time when I worked 4-day weeks and I killed it. Like I got so much stuff done. And so going into 2019, that is actually my work priority. Monday through Thursday, I'm killing it. Friday through Sunday, I'm like not going to be working that hard. I might still be doing things, but all of the heavy lifting, all the deep thinking that needs to happen, all of the huge projects that I need to work on, that's Monday through Thursday. My point is, I just had to admit that this is what I preferred in terms of how I wanted my workload to be. So how do I do this? I front load my week. And basically, I go all in Monday through Thursday. The tasks that are really energy heavy, those are Tuesday, Wednesday, actually. Thursday, I wrap things up, and then any little miscellaneous things that need to be done, that's Friday through Sunday. And by giving myself 4-day work weeks, like really giving myself permission to own that as part of how my weeks will look, it's allowed me to schedule time in the mountains. So when I go to the mountains, I don't want to like work in the mountains necessarily. I don't want to do anything intense. I don't mind doing small little projects that are easy to do at Starbucks and like sit in front of the fire because there's a fireplace at Starbucks at the place that I like to go to in the mountains. But I don't want to be doing like some intense project because I didn't get it done during the week. So I just get it done and then I will go up to the mountains and relax and read books that help me with productivity, read books that help me with growing my business, schedule different things. I'm about to go up to the mountains in a couple weeks, and I do have a podcast interview that I'm doing where I'm the guest, but that's like 1 hour. And then most of the work that I need done, I'll have done before going up to the mountains. Also, having a 4-day week allows me to schedule just time to go hiking, spend time with family and friends, and just prioritize what's important for me as an entrepreneur. Like, why would I quit my job so that I was always working? That doesn't make sense. So that is something that you should be asking yourself. What are your priorities and how do you want to work? And how will you make time for those things that are important to you? Systems that help me focus on my productivity. So this has been huge. I have been working like crazy to figure out the best systems that will work for me and help me be productive and get the things that are important done when they need to be done. I spent a lot of time this year kind of auditing how my work was flowing, where I was making my money. I just spent a lot of time looking at everything. And one of the things I realized was I had way too many meetings and they were very distracting. So say, for example, on Tuesday, I would have like 5 meetings in a row. And then I would also have a project that needed to be done. And I was just tired. Or say, for example, I had writing that I needed to do for some freelance clients because I still do some freelance writing. But I didn't have energy because I did like 5 podcast interviews. Everything was kind of jumbly and all over the place. So I was like, what do I need to do so that I can be really focused on the tasks that need to be done? And how can I facilitate this so that I don't drive myself crazy and I'm not spinning my wheels? So there are certain things where I realized I was like, I'm meeting with people all the time. How is it I'm running an online business and meeting with people all the freaking time? I was doing podcast interviews, both for my shows and with other people. I have office hours for my course, Make Money with eBooks. I have mastermind meetings, business related meetings, and this doesn't even include my meetup group. So I was just having all these meetings and I found it very tiring. A couple of things have changed. I no longer meet people for coffee. I do not pick my brains. I absolutely do not do them. I will actually do a whole podcast episode sometime this spring about that and what my rationale is, but I don't do them anymore. It's a time suck and I can't do it. I have become very comfortable with saying no. I say no all the time. If something is proposed to me that is not going to move me forward towards my goals, I say no quickly. I've got to soften my no so it's not rude, but I'm like, no, because it's very easy to say yes to things that aren't going to move you forward. How do I know this? Because that's what I used to do all the time. So now what I do instead is I focus on productivity blocks. So I think about the tasks that I have to do daily, weekly, monthly, every other month, what have you. I literally have about, I'd say 30 to 32 different tasks that I engage in throughout the year to run my business. And I figured out when they needed to be done, how often they needed to be done. So I would stop spinning my wheels all the time, I always just felt very unfocused. These productivity blocks have helped me become super focused, so I'm not wasting time on stuff that doesn't matter. The other thing that I've done that other online entrepreneurs might want to think about is I alluded to this a little bit, I no longer meet with people in the way that I used to. So again, I was always available to people. I always had all these meetings. I had all this stuff going on. I was like, this is exhausting. So I actually have meetings every other week. I've already built that into my scheduler. So starting from the time of this episode moving forward, I am not available like I used to be at all. One, it's better for you if you're collaborating with me that I'm not always available to you because then it means that I'm exhausted and I'm all over the place. Like I'm just pulled in many directions. I now, every other week, I have meetings. That way, the weeks where I don't have meetings, I can get work done. I can't do both. I don't want to do both anymore where I'm always available. It's unappealing to me. It's not a good way for me. It's not sustainable, and it's not a good way to run my business. So I have become very clear about this. I am no longer available every week. Every other week, I shoot an email with my scheduler. Or if, for example, I'm scheduling with someone else, like they are sending me their scheduler, I make sure that it's within the context of when I am available, period, end of story. The next thing is I also make downtime a priority. It just has to be a priority. As an entrepreneur, you can't always be on. You have to have downtime. You have to have time to relax. You have to conserve your energy. And now that I'm very clear about prioritizing my downtime, it's been wonderful. So that is how I build in vacation time and downtime into my week. I understand my workflow. So I look at the year and I'm aware of how the yearly workflow is going to be. It does mimic to a certain extent a 9-to-5 job, but you might find your first year of working is very different from your second year. I'm finding that the second and third year, as I move forward into this experiment that I call entrepreneurship, I'm noticing the workflow being this kind of similar in the last couple of years as an entrepreneur versus when I was self-employed. Like the things I'm doing are a little different. But now that I understand my workflow, I know when I can take time off. Also because I know about the conferences and things that I'm attending, events that I'm throwing myself, I know how to budget that into my time. Like I know where I need to take time off, when I need to take time off, and how that looks. I build in breaks during the slowest times of year, and that's been wonderful. Batch my work. Batch your work, people. Batch your work. Get ahead. You know who? Here are a couple of people who batch their work. Michelle Schroeder-Gardner. She is on a boat somewhere in the Caribbean. But she has, I think, literally 3 to 5 months worth of content already batched and ready to go. What does that do for her? That allows her to market her content. That allows her to refine it. That allows her not to worry about it. And that allows her to be on a boat in the Caribbean and grow her business. And so when people like herself, Rosemary Groner from The Busy Budgeter, Kim Anderson, all these people that I know, they really spend a lot of time batching their work. I'm learning from the masters and doing the same thing because I hate spinning my wheels trying to get ahead. It's so exhausting. So that is a priority always from now on, because once your work is ready, you don't have to spin your wheels and catch up. You're not always running from behind. This goes back to prioritizing downtime into my schedule, into your schedule. Think about how you want your work week to flow. Maybe you don't want to have 3-day weekends every week. Maybe you're totally fine with working 5 days a week if it's a good system for you, but maybe you decide, you know what, I don't mind 5 days a week, but that last week of each month, I'm going to do, work 3 days and have a 5-day weekend or a 4-day weekend. Whatever you want to do. But you need to think about how you can build in your time because it's your business. You can assert what is best for you because it's your online business. Focus on your systems. One of the things that I learned the hard way is you can't do everything all the time. It doesn't make sense. It's not sustainable and it's not necessary. Not everything needs to be done every week. So an example of that would be accounting. So what I do is every week I have an accounting related task, and then once a month I go back through and check everything. I've scheduled that, and it makes it easier for me. Instead of like every day kind of thinking about it, I just look at my schedule and I'm like, oh, on the first day of the new month, this is what I'm going to spend 2 hours on, or an hour, or whatever, and then I'm done. make your life easier and think about the things that you have to do and set up a system and do it. Always prioritize your downtime. How that looks for you will be different for me. So again, I want 4-day work weeks and 3-day weekends. You may want 5 days a week and you finish at 3 p.m. Whatever it is you want to do, create that schedule and stick to it, and you will be a happy, happy entrepreneur. That is it for this week. It is completely possible to build vacation time into your business, into your schedule. Make that a priority, especially if you're listening to this show during the end of November. You might access this show after that. Whenever you listen to it, just take the time to figure out what's going to work best for you energetically. Hope you're having a great day. Make sure to subscribe to the show, like it, share it with friends. And again, go to the show notes at michelleismoneyhungry.com/vacation.